If you are excited for the Khabib vs Gaethje fight, then be sure to show this by smashing the like button. For all the talk of undefeated records, legacy, and greatness, for all the money made and tickets sold, the true measure of a fighter comes inside the ring, since it has been said that inside this octagon, the truth will eventually find you. For Khabib Nurmagomedov and Justin Gaethje, the moment of truth is looming. With months of preparation until the opening bell sounds, and a fire stoked through months of training ignites with a hellish fury. And so, at UFC 254, in that moment, just before the bell sounds, Khabib Nurmagomedov and Justin Gaethje will have the truth find them. At first glance, they have nothing in common. A violent American brawler and an untouched Russian technician. But at its essence, fighting is a simple sport. Its routines and rhythms, steadfast and universal. Train alongside those who know you best. Learn from those you trust most. Respect the wisdom of those who have been there before, and embrace the promise of those on their way. Most of all, slowly but firmly sharpen your focus on the brutal task that lies ahead. Punish your opponent more than he punishes you. So after months of sacrifice and suffering, on that night, Khabib Nurmagomedov and Justin Gaethje will have more in common with each other than anyone else in the world. Thank you for joining me once again here on Keenan K TV for the final installment of the Khabib Nurmagomedov vs Justin Gaethje video series. We'll be ending everything off with the ultimate breakdown, where we go over everything you need to know about the fight, and then at the end I will tell you who I think will win come fight night. And so with that being said, be sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to my channel if you are new, and let's get into this. As for the tale of the tape, in this matchup, there is nothing really that you can highlight that either fighter has an advantage over the other. They're virtually identical, so let's immediately move over to my own personal fighter cards. Starting off with the challenger, the highlight Justin Gaethje has an overall rating of 91, with 91 striking, 87 grappling, 91 stamina, 94 chin, 89 defense, and a 93 physicality attribute. Gaethje's standout attributes are obviously his chin and physicality. Being a striker, Justin Gaethje pairing up those two attributes makes up for a very hard immovable object and a very hard target to beat down. As a result, he's able to take in opponents into deep waters, cause massive destruction, and most of the time come out victorious. Looking over to his opponent Khabib Nurmagomedov, he is rated 92 with 87 striking, 97 grappling, 93 stamina, 92 chin, 87 defense, and 95 physicality. Khabib's standout attributes are obviously his physicality, but most importantly his grappling. Khabib is a very relentless fighter. For his opponents, he's a very tough guy to shake off and just really get into the fight against. His physicality and his relentlessness always makes up for a defensive opponent, which he always knows how to exploit and get his own game going with. Aside from that, he has shown that his stamina is ready for 5 rounds, especially when he's able to rest against the opponents he has taken down, who have to work their way back up, while Khabib can really take a good rest, and he really knows when to take a break and when to fight. He is a very smart fighter, and that is also why he is currently the world champion. Now, these two fighters side by side, it is pretty obvious who is what in this matchup. Gaethje is the obvious striker and Khabib is the obvious grappler in this matchup. Now, For this breakdown, I won't really go into detail what both fighters do well. I will simply immediately get to the point of really simulating the fight round by round and how I see the fight playing out like. So, with that being said, let us move over to the breakdown part of this video. In the very first round, the most important aspect for both fighters will be demeanor. Who can be the alpha inside the octagon, who will make the other fighter worry about their game plan, and who will fight their fight. Traditionally, Khabib Nurmagomedov has been the fighter who, if you are going to win a round against him, it will most likely come down with the first round, as both fighters are not accustomed to what is going on inside the octagon. So if you want to come forward and take your round, for Justin Gaethje, the first round will be that round. And so with Khabib being the lighter fighter on the feet, as no surprise to anybody, he will be utilizing that footwork to stay out of range and avoid a close-up fight. As a result, what we will see is most likely Khabib in the opening few minutes moving on the outside, using a lateral movement, step in and step out. During the opening of the fight, I am not envisioning Khabib throwing many punches or kicks for that matter, so we will see a lot of feints from him. Now for Justin Gaethje in the opening of the fight, as a reply to what I just said with Khabib being on the outside and not really throwing much, just really analyzing, he will take this advantage and just set his foot in the middle of the octagon and hold it down, be the ring general. And from there, I am personally imagining Justin Gaethje relying more on his leg kicks to get a range down instead of his jab. Justin Gaethje is not a great jabber in my opinion. He has tremendous hooks, power shots, counter rights, overhands, body shots. He's very good at that, but as a clean 1-2 fighter, he's not really that. That is more Conor McGregor's thing. So he might not really get the range down with his hands like Conor would have, but he has his kicks to rely on. And those kicks precisely in the opening of the fight will be accumulating damage, and as the fight goes on, he will be able to slow down Khabib Nurmagomedov's movement, which will be key later down in the fight. And so we have the few first opening sequences laid out. Khabib on the outside and Justin coming forward, feinting, high and low, throwing a leg kick here and there. Nothing too crazy just yet. As soon as the middle of the round approaches, in my opinion, we will see both fighters opening up a little bit more. I think that is when we will see Khabib feint a level change and kind of take away Justin Gaethje's eagerness to throw a leg kick. Now, I'm not sure how gutsy Justin Gaethje is. Will he be intimidated by those takedown feints and stop kicking Khabib? Maybe, maybe not. But for the sake of the argument, let's cover both. If Justin decides to stop throwing the leg kicks because Khabib is feinting the takedown, I think the opening to get closer to Khabib and compete in a close quarter boxing range will become a lot more available, since Khabib will have to plant his feet to shoot in for that feint, and so he will be a lot more in range to be punched. And as a result of that, the inside leg kick will become available, and that is when you will see Justin Gaethje really go in there and hit the inside of the leg, and from there I believe punches will follow. But now let's assume Justin Gaethje keeps throwing the leg kicks. I believe the more leg kicks he throws from the outside, the more likely Khabib can see the openings to sidestep it, counter it, and then shoot him for a single leg. Because Khabib is very light on his feet, and I don't really immediately see a fighter like Justin Gaethje getting the outside fighting range down. And the more time that passes by and the more time Khabib has to analyze the range, the better Khabib will get in stepping in with the shots and popping a jab and popping back out. Because remember, Khabib has the footwork advantage, he's a lot lighter on his feet, and he has a lot more quicker hands. He's a lot more explosive than Justin Gaethje, so Justin will have to really time the speed of Khabib. And so on the outside, I think Khabib's jab will be the key of getting the range down. And by the middle towards the end of the first round, I believe that we will see a lot of sidestepping from Khabib, a lot of feinting when it comes to the takedowns from Khabib. I think he will chain up feints, shoot him for a takedown, and then chain up another one, and then press up Justin Gaethje closer and closer to the fence. Now, I don't think he will do an Ally Quinta on him where he just drags him all across the cage, but I believe he will at least chain up something to where he can stand in the middle of the octagon and pop his jabs and straights to then feint high and shoot down low and pin up Justin against the fence. And from there, as soon as he pins him to the fence, I believe he'll be able to take him down, lock his legs and control him, and then start to lay in some light ground and pound and start to wear down Justin Gaethje. And that is how I believe the first round will be playing out like. I believe the first round will most likely be won predominantly by Justin Gaethje. I think that he will do the cleaner work in the first round, but I think he'll Khabib will be the one ending the strongest. And immediately when the second round starts, I believe personally Justin Gaethje will be a lot more worried and a lot more reactionary towards everything that Khabib does. So whenever he feints high, he will have a big reaction. I think that Khabib will be exploiting those. As for the leg kicks, I think by the second round, Justin Gaethje is a very brave fighter. I wouldn't really count those out, but I don't really see how he will be able to keep on controlling that movement. Perhaps he can, perhaps not, but for the majority of it, I believe that Justin Gaethje will be in range to land those leg kicks and then follow it up with great amounts of hooks to the body and then a couple right hands or right hooks over the top. And so during the middle of the second round, I believe that Khabib will start to have the center of the octagon a little bit more, get his range down a little bit more, start connecting with his jab straights and really frustrate a fighter like Justin Gaethje. He will be in and out very lightly, and I believe in this matchup Khabib will show his speed advantage. So Justin Gaethje has to really work on his timing and his leg kicks and his counters over the shoulder to really catch Khabib. And so I believe in the second round, Justin Gaethje's lack of head movement from the outside as like a reactionary head movement, I don't think it will be that clean. He has great footwork, but if he wants to utilize footwork to avoid punches, he will most likely get backed up once again in the second round. And I believe from there, Khabib will take him down a lot earlier and control him a lot more. And I believe from that round on, I think Khabib will start to set up Justin Gaethje to a point where he can start taking the back and start choking him out. So probably in the second round, he will see Khabib setting up a lot more work on his back, and I believe by the end of the second round he will start to see the first submission attempt. And I believe that not immediately in the second round he will get it, but I believe in the third round Khabib Nurmagomedov should be able to get a submission victory over Justin Gaethje. Now this is a very brief summary of what will happen. These are just really, in the grand scheme of things, the main lines that I will see take place in this fight. So all the things in between, those are variables. Perhaps Justin Gaethje can connect with a big leg kick that will make Khabib buckle his knees and he can go in there, land a vicious uppercut and stun Khabib, because I believe a fighter like Justin Gaethje, if he can make a fighter like Khabib panic and avoid the panic takedown and lay on solid amounts of punches while he's backing up Khabib, I think he will be able to TKO Khabib. So it is a very dangerous fighter, Justin Gaethje, and I believe that you can never count out a fighter like him. And I believe that probably Justin Gaethje is the second toughest fighter, perhaps maybe the toughest fighter stylistically ever since Conor McGregor. So don't count him out. But if you were going to be asking me, Keaton, who do you think will win? I will most likely say Khabib by submission in the second or third round, because the longer the fight goes on, I believe the more success Khabib will have with his grappling and takedowns, and the more tired he can make Justin Gaethje. And as a result, the sloppier Gaethje will get, the slower he will get, the more predictable he will get, and the better Khabib will get. So ultimately, if it is not a submission victory, at least he should get a decision. However, this is the fight game, and in the end, only time will tell what will truly happen. For now, I have been Keenan from Keenan KTV, signing off. Later.